I'm a paediatric oncologist and haematologist, so it means I look after children with cancer and blood diseases. When I got to this ward and saw that the way of managing the children was on clinical trials, a very scientific approach to their therapy, it just clicked and was really where I wanted to spend the rest of my life. It is an emotional area to work in, and everyone says, how can you possibly do the work? But the science of managing the children on clinical trials is the perfect foil for the emotional side of the work. It's much easier to cope with the fact that some children won't survive if we know that they've had the very best therapy in the world. In the early 80s, most children with cancer and leukemia died of their disease. We were lucky enough to have Michael Willoughby arrive from the UK, and he brought with him the philosophy of comparing one treatment with another. And over the next decade, he was able to make our unit the first full member in the Children's Oncology group outside North America. But it brings with it not only the benefit of having the trials open for the children, but access to enormous numbers of incredibly wise people, and to be able to say to a family, you don't have to go anywhere to get the best therapy in the world. Your child's having the same treatment they would get at Sloan Kettering in New York or MD Anderson in Houston or Great Ormond Street in London is fantastic. Clearly, staying with your family is incredibly important in treating children. In doing a clinical trial, we randomly assign children to one treatment or the other. Usually the standard arm of the trial is the best treatment we know to date, and the other arm of the trial, the so-called experimental arm, is slightly different, and we're asking a question to see if that new treatment is better than or less toxic than or both the standard treatment. If you look at the improvement in survival in childhood leukemia trials over the last 50 years, there hasn't been any miraculous change. It's been a slow, stepwise improvement from one study to the next, each improving on the last, such that we've gone from perhaps 20% of children being cured when we began, or even fewer, to now over 80–90%, depending on the type of leukemia that you have. The other strength is not only that we've cooperated with the other paediatric oncologists around the country and around the world, but that within our own teams we cooperate with our multidisciplinary team. So the patients are looked after by the oncologist, by the surgeon, by the radiation oncologists. We have all our specialised nurses, and we have of equal importance a psychosocial team that actually keeps the kids' lives moving ahead and keeps the families together in what is chaos for the family when your child's diagnosed with cancer. So we couldn't do this without our X-ray department, the radiologists, being on side, because they have to fill out all the paperwork on all of the kids' X-rays and so on. Our surgeons, our pathologists, everyone is a member of our wider team. We now have a great relationship with the other specialists around the country in fields like immunology, because they will often diagnose diseases that respond well to similar sorts of treatment to the children with cancer. I'm very proud of the fact that successive hospital administrations here have supported us wholeheartedly. They haven't said, oh, that's research, we're not going to fund it. They've understood from the very beginning that this is the way to treat children's cancer. It's so much easier if you're collecting the data from all the patients prospectively and looking at it in real time. Not only because you see when things are going well, but you see when they're not going well. So it'll be small stepwise improvements as we learn how to use these new drugs, how we use them with our traditional cytotoxic drugs. And the platform for doing that investigation is the clinical trial.